Hey, I'm Leonard. I started cycling 2 years ago and since then it's changed the way I live and travel. I've been to a few places with my bicycle, immersing myself in unique travel experiences that can only be truly savoured from the perspective of a cyclist. I'm back in South Korea for a 9-day cycling trip that's almost entirely based on The Elevation Game, a book created by Aaron Smart. This book documented the incredible road cycling climbs he experienced during his decade-long sojourn in South Korea. And after an exhilarating opener at Jirisan, I moved southward to a coastal city in the southernmost part of South Korea. In the elevation game, there was a... Wait, sorry Aaron, we're going to put the elevation game aside because there isn't going to be much of a climb for this one. Enter Kim Bo-ram, a South Korean cyclist whom I met on Zwift. While I don't know him personally, we have raced together with the Korean Zwift riders group on Zwift a couple of times. I followed him on Strava and one of his activities caught my attention. An epic loop where the Tarmac meets the blue skies and the sea. I didn't know what they looked like back then, but my imagination and curiosity got the better of me and led me to one of the most breathtaking routes I've ever done. Welcome to Yeosu. After a night of light rain, the weather was forecasted to be clear, but wind speeds were expected to be around 35 km per hour. That doesn't look good, but it wasn't enough to keep me off the road. Immediately after getting on the road, I was surprised at how crowded Yeosu was. I was expecting it to be a small town by the coast, but it was a city. I do not enjoy riding in the city. Depending on how you look at it, one of the few good things about being in a city is commerce. Shops selling things, people buying things. I stopped for strawberry mochi for a morning snack. If you don't already know, mochi always gets me, and this was absolutely delicious. It took me a while to get out of the city, but my imagination came to life at the outskirts, the Tarmac and the sea. The south of Yeosu is home to hundreds of islands scattered mostly in the south. Some of these islands are connected by bridges, creating an epic loop around Suncheon Bay, and this is what I came here for. The first bridge in today's loop is the Hwayang Bridge. The bridge itself is an architectural marvel. It is one of the longest cable-stayed bridges in the world, and I've been dreaming of getting aerial shots of me cycling through the bridges, but it seems like I was out of luck. The winds were too strong for the poor drone to take off. Heck, I was even having trouble moving straight through these bridges. It's an absolute menace. At the last bridge, I met with a group of cyclists from Korea. I haven't seen many cyclists on the road, and these guys didn't seem to be from the city, as they were just as in awe as me as we cycled through these roads. Parted ways when I had to change the batteries on the GoPro, but we met again at the last Garmin featured climb of the route. After the bridges section, I wasn't sure what was in it for me. I was here because I was curious about the scattered islands and nothing else. I even lost a bit of motivation in capturing footage, and I was just gonna let myself be led by the roads. "25 kilometers after the last bridge, I arrived at a landmark lookout. The Jungsan Sunset Observatory is a popular viewpoint, and it kind of sums up what this area is all about. The sea, wetlands, farms and scattered islands. It's kind of a consolation to what I've missed at the bridges section. I stopped at a small town for a break at the halfway mark. Stops like this are a mainstay on a full day bike trips. My wife said I don't eat enough real food when I'm on trips like this, but you know, you lose some, you win some. I continued my journey after the short break, meandering through towns, villages and farms on the way. Still wasn't sure what to expect, still waiting for the roads to give me something. At around the 100 kilometers mark, I found myself at yet another important landmark point. The Suncheon Bay Wetland Reserve is a coastal wetland teeming with life. It's home to migratory birds and plants, and it's an ideal spawning ground for marine animals. It's the first Korean wetland to be registered on the Ramsar wetland and attracted more than 6 million domestic visitors in 2022. I hope I will get a chance to visit it in the future in a different setting and a more appropriate attire. For now, I do what I can. There's still 50 kilometers left and I found myself in a battle against time. My rule of thumb when I'm on trips like this is to get back before the sun sets, and this seems like a losing battle. As much as I wanted to complete the route, I made a last attempt to try to capture the beauty of Suncheon Bay. This was the last stretch that I would be near the bay again, and I really wanted to bring it to the screen and share it with you all. I arrived back in the city at sunset. A bike path led me directly back to the hotel saved me, but it also rang the bell for the last cycling minutes in Yeosu. It just wasn't meant to be from a filming perspective, but I saw what I came here to see. This wasn't just Kim's route on Strava anymore. I was here breathing, cycling and experiencing South Jeolla with every downstroke I made on the pedal. Wait for me Yeosu, because I'll be back. The night had arrived, but my day wasn't done. The port of Yeosu was the start of my next adventure in South Korea. Here, a daily ferry service carries passengers from the mainland to one of the most popular and beloved tourist attractions in South Korea, Jeju Island. That is where I'm headed, making it my third time there. It was no coincidence that this was included as part of my 9-day cycling adventure. I'm in love with the place and I'll find all sorts of reasons to be there. I wanted to try using the ferry to get there this time around, and I found the entire process very simple. I purchased a ticket, line up to board, find your cabin, and that's it. It was only a 5-hour ride, so I got the cheapest ticket. In the third class cabin that I was in, the spaces are segmented and shared. You have to sleep on the floor, and it's advisable you bring your own pillow. I found a spot amongst all the other passengers, used my clothes as pillow and spent the night there. Before turning in, I had the first meal of the day, finally something that wasn't just bread and coffee. I read that the food's actually pretty decent, which was why I waited.
A little bit spicy, right?
Okay. And yeah, it was pretty good. After 5 hours of ride, I was almost arriving at the island. Restless, I opened the door of curiosity. Yeah, it wasn't the best kind of curiosity.
Thank you.
On the way out of the ferry, I was greeted by the warm sun in Jeju Island. That's the signal for the start of my next adventure in South Korea and the end of today's video. I'll see you the next time as I take on a 100 kilometers epic volcano climb around the two peaks of Jeju's Halasan and a bucket list 225 kilometers loop around the island. That should be a fun one. Anyway, if you like what you see, you can consider subscribing to my channel to stay tuned. Till then, I'll see you.